this has actually been one of the most divisive topics recently. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I certainly feel like I have. A lot of people are very, very divided with this whole topic.
Tonight, MAGA divided. Donald Trump's support for Israel's actions against Iran is splitting his own base, pitting Israel hawks against those who fear the United States is being pulled into an even bigger regional fight. But remember, when the president campaigned on this message.
I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III. I'm going to keep us out of World War III. We're not going to have World War III, but I will prevent World War.
In my opinion, keeping us out of World War III means not sending over bombs and starting wars in the Middle East. Like, that's just me.
War III.
That's just
Former
that's what I
Fox
think.
host Tucker Carlson sent Trump a stern warning this morning in his newsletter.
What do you
Quote,
say?
the United States should not at any level participate in a war with Iran. No funding, no American troops, no troops on the ground. Drop Israel. Let them fight their own wars. What happens next will define Donald Trump's presidency. Ashley Allison and Pete Seat are back at the table. Ravi is also back with us as well. So, Pete, this is an inevitable...
Yeah, and there's a big difference and a huge nuance. The U.S. defending its own assets and dual citizens that live in Israel, defending is way different than funding and attacking.
Divide
totally
playing
different.
out in MAGA world, where Trump, you know, he told them he would end all the wars, and now he has not ended all the wars.
Well, it's inevitable because there is...
I mean, what a stupid premise. It's stupid for them to expect Trump to have ended all the wars, and it was stupid for Trump to say that he was going to end all the wars. Okay, yeah, I'm going to become president, end all the wars, everybody's going to get a bunch of money, and the U.S. is going to be the best country ever. Okay, yeah, get pretty good message, to be fair, but, like, still not necessarily something I bet on.
Element of the MAGA base that is divorced from reality, and that is the reality of leadership. They've never read an intelligence briefing. They've never sat in the Situation Room. Donald Trump has had the benefit of doing that. The most consequential decision they've made is choosing Crest or Colgate. And so they don't understand the importance of these decisions, nor do they embrace the burden of American leadership and being the world's lone superpower and having the largest economy. And
this guy's just trying to justify us getting entangled into different wars as if it's incomprehensible, the idea that, like, what do you think? These intelligence briefings are some kind of hieroglyphics that can only be understood if you have like a 5,000 IQ? Is this really what you're trying to say? Most of the people that are doing that are the ones that are fixing your air conditioning unit, and they can read the circuit board on your air conditioner better than you can read the fucking ingredients on your Colgate toothpaste that you're using to insult these people with. It's just such a stupid, patronizing, like, talking down to, I hate this bitch. I hate this guy. What a nasty little rat. What a disgusting, nasty little rat. Like, as if this is some kind of fucking incomprehensible knowledge.
You argue that also describes what Donald Trump campaigned on. I mean, he campaigned on getting out of, Iraq or getting out of Afghanistan in his first term. Then Ukraine hasn't happened. Then stopping the Gaza war hasn't happened. He has been the one who has fed, if it's a delusion, he's fed the delusion.
I think he's very good at sort of spotting the mood, and I'm a Crest man, by the way, but I think, in as much as there's a constituency on the left and the right that really does want to end...
Crest and Colgate, those are toothpaste, right? Yeah, okay.
These wars around the world, Trump wants to cater to that. He is also, I think, looking at this moment and saying, well, Israel's taking out Iran's nukes. This is actually quite popular in the region. It's popular in the United States. It's a win as well for...
If it's popular in the region, then let them fucking do it. Why the fuck are we doing it? If it's popular in the region, they've got all these fucking, like, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. If all these people hate fucking... If they all hate fucking Iran, then go deal with them.
wing of his party,
That's
so
just
why
me.
not milk some of that?
That's what I
I
think.
think he's just looking at each faction and how they're reacting and seeing what he can get out of it.
And I think this is what we've been missing for so long as Republicans is leadership.
Yeah.
Like just
Are
Donald
you
Trump
saying
should
Donald
tell
Trump
us.
is
I know, it's
exerting
surprising.
leadership?
I know, it's surprising.
I just wanted, for the record, make
He
sure
just
that
needs to tell us
yeah.
what he thinks.
Yeah.
He keeps playing this both sides things or staying quiet, but it's
Well, of
interesting.
course
'cause
you're playing both sides because there's not the reason why you're playing both sides is that neither of these sides, this isn't a black and white issue. It's like a bloody gray issue, and there's problems everywhere. And also, like, he has to reconcile all of that with, like, the desires of his voters. Like, what's right and wrong objectively, if you think about the morality of, you know, going to war or protecting Israel or, you know, fighting Iran or not fighting Iran, all of that is secondary to a person who lives in Wisconsin that wants to be able to afford groceries. Like, these people don't care about these existential problems, and those are the people that voted for Trump. They voted for Trump to solve immediate domestic issues like immigration, fucking rising prices of things, stuff like that. That's why people voted on him. Now, you could say they shouldn't have or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's what they voted for. And so is it not a betrayal of trust when a person takes these people's trust that they voted on you to do this one thing, and now you think morally you're going to do something different? Well, you didn't get voted to do that. You got voted to do this. So do what you got voted to do. I think that, again, you know, the government serves the people. The president is a servant. It's not a king. And so, again, I think he should work to serve the interests of the voters. I don't think his voters want us going to war with you know, and helping Israel. I don't think they want that. As an American Jew, I'm tired of involving ourselves with Israel. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I mean, and by the way, just because you're a Jew, it doesn't mean that you have some sort of connection to Israel, man. Like, that's like, really, I mean, if you think about it, like, just every Asian person doesn't have a connection to there. Every black person doesn't have a connection to Africa. Like, it's such a weird, it's such a weird, casually racist thing to do, isn't it? To say that? Like, I don't know. I find that to be very odd.
You know, where
like
is he in the Russian-Ukraine conflict? He can't say Russia invaded Ukraine, you know, and so nobody even knows where he really stands on that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a saying that I have memorized over and over, the short part of it. Ronald Reagan gave at the Goldwater Convention. He said, "We can have peace and we can have it tomorrow. Surrender." And there is a surrender caucus in the MAGA base that basically thinks peace at any cost, including at the reputation of the United States, is worth it. And I don't.
I think one thing, though, is that Donald Trump makes a lot of promises that he can't keep, and because they're empty promises. So you say, I'm going to end the war in day one of my administration.
Did not happen.
Many of us said that's not going to happen, especially if you're not going to tell the truth about what happened for the war to start. And there are people, to your point, in the Republican Party and MAGA who believe him everything he says, even if he says.
Somebody says that's not true. From a religious standpoint, Jews do feel like they have a connection to Israel as the only Jewish state. I appreciate you cannot relate to this as you do not religion, but important to realize others are. Well, the difference is that there are people who are ethnically Jewish and people that are religiously Jewish, and that's a difference.
The sky is green.
Yeah, not all
They
Jews.
believe everything he says, and they do not question it. I think
just
what
not how
you're
it
seeing
is.
now, though, with Tucker Carlson, even Steve Bannon, he was saying, Israel has to go at it alone.
Let me play that sound from Steve Bannon earlier today on the War Room.
Israel puts Israel first, as they should. I have no problem with that. But America's got to put America first.
Yeah, I agree.
And one thing I don't like seeing is all this cheerleading going on right now, because when you're in the Middle East and dealing with ancient civilizations that are over there, unexpected things happen. We know that from 20 years of war in Afghanistan, in Iraq.
They're isolationists, though. And
20 fucking years.
It is for them. It's only about America. I'm not gonna be like Adam and give Donald Trump the leadership credibility stamp of approval tonight. Not that I think that's what you're doing.
Well, wait a minute. Like, if they're isolationists, and there's a lot of them, and they voted for a person to be isolationist, shouldn't they get what they want because that's the way the government works? Shouldn't that be the way a democracy works? You might not agree with the fact that that's the case, but if a lot of people vote for something and then it doesn't happen, then democracy isn't happening. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, what the fuck is? She's using Karen logic. She's saying, well, it doesn't matter what you voted for because I've already decided what's right and wrong. And because you're not on the right side of that, well, immediately now you can't, now you can't even vote for something. If a lot of people in America want America to be isolationist, then it should be able to be isolationist because the government should represent its people for better or for worse. It's so weird that these people are so authoritarian that they want to force this foreign policy on everybody. What the fuck is this? By that logic, you're in favor of North Korea? I think it's the same as North Korea. It's not even worth that's not even worth responding to. Let's move on.
I
But-
gave him the lack of it.
Okay, right. But I think Donald Trump is not stupid, and he knows that what happened last night, which is why they put the statement out they did last night, saying we did not support this move, and now is backtracking. Even that, saying last night one thing and then today flipping the script. It's whatever he thinks at the end of the day will suit him better, and I'm not even sure it's what will suit America better.
Pete, what do you make of that last point that Bannon made, which is that our experience in this region has been, to put it mildly, terrible? We have gotten into essentially quagmires by intervening.
A 20-year, trillions of dollar war that resulted in replacing the Taliban with the Taliban. Yeah, it didn't work.
And there is a fear, especially among some of the younger folks who lived through that, you know, this could be a very similar situation. And also, as we've been discussing earlier in the show, we don't know how this ends. It looks like bombs falling everywhere in Iran right now, but what's the end game?
And those are legitimate fears to the points you made and the points that Steve Bannon made. But we do have interests in the Middle East. That has not changed. But what I think is so interesting about this is these are the same people who keep saying, art of the deal, art of the deal, don't take anything off the table. And here they are begging the president of the United States to take things off the table.
No, they're not. They're begging the president of the United States to make a decision with what's on the table currently. And also, he never answered the question of, well, after 20 years, we got nothing done. Why should we continue doing the same thing? He never even answered that question because there is no answer to it.
I mean, maybe
This guy's a
because there's
jackass,
been no
yeah.
deals.
Yeah, there's been no deal.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry to say, but there's been no deals.
And
There's
honestly,
no
again,
Ukraine deal, no Gaza deal.
It's hard to see MAGA coalesce around anything when the president doesn't articulate his foreign policy goals. And I think it's just so important because you can't, you know, when you're campaigning, you can do whatever you want, right? You can say whatever you want. When you're president, you're going to be faced with things like, hey, Israel's bombing Iran. And I don't see how this stops now with Iran with a nuclear program intact. And honestly, the United States is going to have to make a statement either way on what's happening, and more than just silently, I think, intercepting some missiles.
CNN's chief international correspondent, Clarissa Ward, joins us now from Eilat, Israel. Clarissa, you just arrived there. Tell us what the scene is like tonight.
Intact, they literally bombed it? Yeah, they did. Do you have any woke opinions? I'm sure I do. Yeah, I mean, I have a number of them. But like this, we're not talking about that right now. But do you guys see kind of like, isn't it so weird that they approach this with the expectation and just the assumption that the voters that wanted to be isolationists shouldn't be taken seriously? As if these people don't have a right to vote for what they believe in, for better or for worse. It's insane.
Round.
Well, Abby, you can probably see behind me the sun is just starting to come up here. It's been quiet for the last couple of hours prior.
Just a second. A grave misunderstanding to a Jew. Israel is the promised land by God to the Jews, and they first arrived there in something like 1800 BC, and it's called Canaan. Given this, the Jews all feel a connection to it and all the prayers. So you think that every Jew in the world feels a connection to Israel? I mean, I think that's a little bit of a generalization, don't you think? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I've known multiple Jews that don't give a fuck about Israel personally, so I can tell you from personal experience that's not true.
Prior to that, we were seeing quite a lot of activity in the skies. We heard fighter jets as we were driving across the border with Egypt because Israel's airspace is completely closed. We could see intercepts taking place. And when you talk to Israelis, and even just being here a few hours on the ground, you can see really a very clear difference, Abby, from
and also, just real quick, God promised us this land. I'm sorry, but like, I just, that sounds really convenient for you, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know, man.
trips we have done here
Yeah.
from last year's tit for tat back and forth between Israel and Iran. And when you look at those startling images of the enormous damage that was done by that Iranian ballistic missile on the outskirts of Tel Aviv, as you mentioned, one woman killed, and you saw this night sky lighting up over Tel Aviv, some of them being intercepted, those missiles, but some of them getting through. And the power of those missiles, the ferocity of the kind of roar as they made impact. When you talk to people here, there's a real sense.
No, it's, I mean, I'd be fucking scared too. Absolutely. I'll rebuke in this. Torah is the first Bible, the original tithe of the deed. So how do you establish ownership of land? Only through war? Well, it's simple. The person who can kill the other person is the person who owns the land. That's still the way it is, by the way. That's why Russia has Crimea right now. That's the way it's always going to be. If you want their land, go kill them and get it. See, the idea of a deed and that like the land was ceded to these people implies the existence of a higher governing power. But that doesn't exist. There is no higher governing power beyond violence and physical existence. You can make one up, but that doesn't, like, oh, God said this, but that doesn't mean anything. It's not real. So it's power. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it exists only if you believe. Yeah, but this is not it's not tangible. You can't quantify it. It's nothing. You legitimize power. Yeah, and that's the... I don't know about every single one, but pretty much every single line that you see on a globe, the line is in that direction, in that angle, and in that place because somebody who disagreed with that line is dead. That's the reason.
That this is a significant escalation, that this is leading to a new chapter, and that's something that is being echoed across the region. This is a region tonight, or I should say this morning, Abby, really on a knife edge. We've heard Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, basically vowing very hard punishment for those attacks that took place on civilian areas. Of course, Israeli missiles have also been falling on civilian areas inside Iran. And now, of course, as well, you have that threat that you mentioned from the Iranians that anyone who supports Israel in its defense, and this is a not-so-veiled threat towards the U.S. as well, is liable to be attacked. Their regional bases liable to be attacked. And that, of course, is part of the reason that we saw U.S. personnel pulled out of several embassies across the region. So definitely a sense that things are not getting quieter, that they are escalating, the dawn just breaking here, and we will see what this day brings, Abby.
And Clarissa, what is your sense of the targeting here of some of these ballistic missiles that are coming in from Iran? You know, when we saw those attacks a few months ago, this barrage of missiles coming in, very few of them actually made it into Israel, in part due to the Iron Dome.
They did last night.
I wonder if the sense is that Iran is deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure, or is their aim just not what it should be if they're trying to get at some of the military infrastructure pieces that they might be after?
I mean, I think there's no question, Abby, that when we were here last summer, it was pretty clear what the targets were.
And you can see how CNN passively manufactures consent to bomb Iran by assuming that Iran is attacking civilian places only. Like, for example, one of the biggest military installations inside of Israel is in the middle of the city. It's literally in the middle of the city. So they always do this. But you and I want you guys to see that this video really upsets me. Because this video makes me feel like this is the reason why. Let me think of a good way to say this. I think it's a mask off video that shows the duality of the manufactured positions. It's basically like right-wing people want to defend Israel because or attack Iran because they don't like Iran for, you know, a religious reason or something else. And over here, they're trying to make it out like, oh, Iran is doing this and imply this as well. Stop defending Iran. They're sponsoring Hamas. They don't care about the people. I'm not defending Iran. I'm not defending Iran at all. I'm attacking our media. I'm attacking our media by creating a false dichotomy that leads to the same conclusion because it's owned by such a small group of people that are pushing the same narrative because it's financially beneficial for them. That's what I'm attacking. I'm not attacking it. Like, most of the people in Iran and Israel are probably great. Like, everybody I know from Israel and everybody I know from Iran is great. I don't have a problem with either one of these countries. Yeah, the governments suck. But, like, I don't hate either. Why the fuck would I hate these countries? No, it's stupid. It's the media that's pushing this. And do you guys see how the media is pushing the war by trying to, like, signal that Donald Trump is being inauthentic with his messaging? And then on the other side, the media is trying to push the war by saying that Iran is this existential threat and we need to fight for America. This is upsetting for me to see this. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Of these various missile attacks that were coming from Iran, the impression that we have here is that the gloves have effectively come off now, right? Because the sites that you're seeing in Tel Aviv and around Tel Aviv this evening in central Israel, like, this is not like anything that people here have seen before, and certainly that we have seen before. And that's why you're seeing such a strong response from the defense minister accusing Iran of deliberately targeting civilians. Of course, we don't exactly know what the intended target was, but make no mistake, this is a new chapter. It's a dangerous chapter. It's a dramatic escalation. That's why you are seeing...
Do you think the U.S. gives a shit about Israel? I think that the U.S. gives a shit about Israel because Israel functions as an outlet for people that are making decisions inside of the U.S. government to make money through the military-industrial complex, through second-order effects of their investments and partnerships and relationships with those companies, and also lobbying as well. So it's not about, like, I'm not a big, oh, the Jews control everything. I mean, there's a lot of people that get into that. I don't think you need to get into that. I think it's an unnecessarily aggro argument that's not necessary to reach the same conclusion, that there is a group of people that are operating with intent that does not represent the average public. That's fundamentally what's happening. And they are manufacturing this consent by creating a dichotomy where you either want war for this reason or war for that reason. Does that make sense? Dancing Israelis? Bro, every single, you're not going to come. Do you really think I don't know what that is? I know every single one of these things. I know all of this. You don't need to fucking fool me with any of this. You're not going to, like, dog whistle one of these things in there. I know all of this, okay? I've been on the internet almost 30 fucking years now, 25 fucking years.
Leaders across the world, particularly in the region, but also in Europe, desperately calling on all parties to kind of pull back from the brink before things get even worse than they already are. But at the moment, Abby, no clear exit ramp in sight. And despite President Trump's urges for Iran to join those talks in Oman over the weekend, it's really looking rather unlikely that they would do that, because it would be seen essentially as a capitulation of sorts, Abby.
Yeah,
We begin this
anyway, I
morning.
already saw this one before. But yeah, I mean, you can see how this is...
Tonight, MAGA
They're
divided.
basically trying to turn this into, Donald Trump looking bad if he doesn't keep going to war with Israel and fighting with Iran. It's insane to me. Isn't it anti-Semitic to point out that Israel isn't truly an ally, though? I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's very convenient for... if it's a sovereign nation, then it's going to be acting in its own best interest, and you should expect them to. And they are a sovereign nation, and that's clearly what's going to happen. So I think that's what's going on here right now.